Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Papercrafts. In today's video, we're going to be making this one sheet gift box. The central section of the box is 2.5 by 2.5 inches. It's a perfect size for sweet treats or a small gift and can obviously be decorated for any occasion. So let me show you how I put the box together. The cardstock I'm using is Imperial Red. This is 230 GSM and this is from Creative Craft Products at Craft Stash. The starting cardstock is 7.5 inches by 10.5 inches. Along the 7.5 inch side, score at 1, 2.5, 5 and 6.5. Rotate the cardstock and along the 10.5 inch side, score at 2.5, 5, 7.5 and 10. Fold and burnish along the score lines. Take your scissors, we're going to cut away the second and the fourth and the 1/2 inch section at the bottom. I'm going to cut up the first vertical to the horizontal, like so. Cut up the next score line, like so. Rotate, and I'm going to remove this section, like so. I'm then going to move along to the next score line, cut up to the horizontal, rotate and remove the whole of this section. So our bottom portion looks like this. Rotate the card 180 degrees and we now want to cut the sections opposite. So if we start from the left hand side, we're going to cut up the second score line, rotate and remove this entire section, like so. Then I'm going to move along to the next score line, cut up, move along to the next score line, cut up, rotate and remove this section. So this is our piece. We can now move to the 1/2 inch glue tab and we're going to cut up each of the score lines to the horizontal to split the glue tab into 3 and then take a wedge from the ends of each of these glue tabs. So this is our piece. I'm now going to take my ruler and a pencil, line my ruler up with the outer edge of the card and make a pencil mark at 3 3/4 inch. So it's going to be halfway across this section where the top is cut away, and then make a pencil mark at 8 3/4 inch. Move down to the bottom. So I'm now going to make a pencil mark here at 3 3/4 inch and do the same at 8 3/4 inch. Keep your ruler, take your stylus, and we're going to score a diagonal from the pencil mark down to the corner of that section, like so. So you can see I now have a diagonal score line from the pencil mark down to the bottom corner of that section. So I'm going to repeat that from the pencil mark down to the left hand side, and I'm going to do that in each of these 4 rectangles that we've put the pencil marks in. Remove any of the pencil marks, and now we're going to fold along the score lines as a valley fold. So just take your time and burnish along the diagonals. So you want to do that all the way around. So this is our piece. Now, if I take the first one that I've made, you can see that I used a long border punch to trim off these edges. If you want to do something like that, you might find it easiest to do it now whilst the piece is flat. You can do it whilst the pieces come together, but personally, I just found it easiest to manipulate everything before I add the piece together. I also, at this stage, before I glued the piece together, added the holes in using a stationer's punch. So think about your closure system, any decorative elements you may choose to have or not to have along this top edge, and just think about whether you'd find it easier to do it now or once the piece comes together. So I'm going to put my holes in and shape the top of these 4 flaps here. I'm going to keep these 2 bits pushed together, come in and just put my holes in. Now you may at this stage decide whilst the piece is flat that you want to put your decorative paper on. You can do that once the box comes together or now, depending on what you'll find easier. You can see on this one that I've already made, I do have a very thin border around the edge. In fact, the border is only 1/16 of an inch on either side. That's a personal preference, not to everyone's taste. If you want to cut your DSP the same as mine, my pieces are 2 3/8 by 1 3/8. So you might decide your preference is 2 1/4 by 1 1/4 to give you a slightly wider border. The central sections here, these ones are 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. Again, if you prefer a slightly wider border, you might decide to cut them down to 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. One thing to consider as you start to think about your DSP is you can see that I've added mine so that it runs in this orientation and my hearts are running in towards the middle. So this effectively is the top of the box. You may prefer that your box and your decoration sits in this orientation and the box would therefore open from the side. So just think about that as you cut your DSP, particularly if you have got a pattern which runs in a certain direction, as I do here with the hearts. So that's just something to consider. I'm going to add my DSP on once the pieces are put together. Now we can join our box together. I'm going to add glue onto the tabs, pull around this side and fold over this side, and make sure that you get your score lines running level all the way around. So our box is now glued together. You can see that if we push in the triangles at the side, these top edges pop in and these 2 bits come together at the ends. And now you can go ahead and add your decoration. Here's the second box. All of the DSP has come from Papercraft Society Box 53, My Creative Life, as have the dies here. I've added a wax seal which I found in my stash. This has come from the wax seal kit from Crafter's Companion, and this is the seal that I've used, and that's just added a nice touch onto the front of the boxes. And I've just added some additional small shaker hearts which I had in my stash on the front. I've enjoyed putting these treat boxes together, and I'm sure my grandchildren will enjoy the treats that go inside them for Valentine's Day. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel, and until next time, thanks for watching.